Hi there, everyone. So I have taken a bit of a break from making videos. I needed that after the Madeline McCann series. It just kind of took a bit out of me, both creatively and emotionally. And so I just needed to take a bit of a break. But I'm back again with a video about a topic that I find very fascinating. And this may end up being a multi-part video series. I'm not really sure yet. We'll just see how the discussion goes and whether it seems to bring up any more points or questions for me that I might want to explore and talk about in subsequent videos, or I might just feel like this one video discussion is enough. But this is a topic that interests me on a number of different levels. So I'm excited to get into talking about the Twin Flames universe, and the controversy that has been following them around for, to be honest, a couple of years now. Um, I have my heater fan on in the background, and I hope it's not going to provide too much disturbance or background noise. I'll listen back and see if you can hear it. And then, I might re-record some parts of this if it does end up being a bit noisy. It's just we've had a very, very cold spell here in Ireland. The weather has suddenly just turned freezing, and I just needed the extra warmth in order to film this video. My wee hands are pretty cold, and I just needed to make myself a bit more comfortable. So hopefully it doesn't turn out to be too much of a nuisance. Um, and so with that, let's talk about Jeff and Shaleia. I believe that's how you say her name, who are the couple who have founded and really head up this organization called the Twin Flames Universe. And this is a very kind of relevant and topical issue at the moment because there have been two separate documentaries that have come out recently on big streaming channels. I believe Amazon has just streamed a documentary about them called Finding Your Ultimate Soulmate, or the Escaping Your Soulmate, or something like that. I'm sorry, I don't actually have the title here in front of me. I haven't seen that documentary. There's also a documentary that's come out on Netflix, and I think it's called Escaping the Twin Flames Universe. Um, I can look up those titles now quickly. Just give me one moment. Should have done that before I started filming. But let's see. Amazon documentary about Twin Flame Universe. Okay, so the Amazon documentary is called Desperately Seeking Soulmate, Escaping Twin Flames Universe. And then the Netflix documentary has also come out recently, and it's called Escaping Twin Flames. Um, so both of these documentaries have been made about this organization. I haven't seen either one of them. And to be honest, I think that's probably a good way to approach this video. I don't want my views or opinions or the points that I raise to be unnecessarily skewed by having watched the documentaries. But when I get a chance to, or if I get a chance to watch the documentaries, I certainly will watch them and see if perhaps they bring up some points that I might want to talk about in a different video. But I'm just prefacing this video by saying I haven't seen the documentaries. I have seen some videos that have been made by content creators here on YouTube about the documentary. And so I've gathered some of the most salient points that the documentary has raised, and I might just sprinkle those in here and there in my own video. But ultimately, in this video, what I want to cover is the Vanity Fair article, which kind of kickstarted all of this controversy. And I also want to look at a few videos that Jeff and Shaleia themselves have put out on their channel, videos that are still very much up on their channel, still very much form part of their teaching to this day. And I want to look at some of the really toxic and dangerous and very worrisome points that we can see coming through very strongly in these videos. And I also want to look at how someone who is in a vulnerable position, who is drawn to this sort of content, might be unduly influenced and manipulated by what they see in these videos. So this topic covers a few points that are of particular interest to me. I'm very interested in people who put themselves forward as dating and love and relationship coaches, because I've seen just so much problematic content put out by people like this, people who are not qualified mental health professionals, people who are basically self-proclaimed coaches or gurus. They have no one above them, no one certifying them, no one whom they answer to, no actual kind of scientific and research-based information behind the content that they're putting out. I find all of this incredibly worrying. So there's that aspect of it that interests me. Another aspect that interests me enormously is the whole concept of cults and how cults start, how they grow, how they kind of warp and morph into this kind of rather monstrous entity that takes on a life of its own and ends up doing untold harm and almost irreparable damage to its followers. That's something I find very interesting. And unfortunately, Twin Flames universe very much meets the definition of a cult in many regards, or many aspects, I should say. And then thirdly, the aspect of this topic that interests me is the idea of twin flames. Now, I'm not really very into this concept at the moment. My thoughts about love and relationships are very different nowadays from what they were a few years ago. But some years ago, maybe about 6 or 7 years ago, this was something that I was very into and keen on, and I consumed a lot of content about this subject. I first came across the concept of twin flames in a Teal Swan video. She's another problematic cult leader that I'm sure you've heard about, because Netflix also put out a documentary about her called The Deep End, which I've seen that one start to finish. It's fascinating, but she's a fascinating figure all on her own, and she's in very much the same vein as Jeff and Shaleia from Twin Flames universe. But I was first introduced to the concept of twin flames by a Teal Swan video, which I just happened to come upon on YouTube. I wasn't a follower. I never have been a follower of her content. I find her very worrying and problematic, as I said. But at the time, I was in a very unhealthy relationship. And I suppose, the mindset that I was in at the time was causing me to look for all these kind of, I don't know, unconventional and spiritual answers to some of the problems that I was coming up against in my relationship. The guy I was with at the time was a very kind of new agey, hippie, trippy, pseudo spiritual sort of a person. And maybe that influenced why I went looking for this sort of content as well. I'm not sure. But that was back in 2016. And I found out about the twin flames concept, and I found it a very interesting concept. Didn't quite know what I thought about it at the time. But then about a year later, I looked into the concept of twin flames again in order to explain. I was out of that relationship by this point, thank goodness. And I looked up the concept of twin flames in order to explain another very unusual experience that I had in dating someone that I met. And there were all sorts of strange and unusual and kind of seemingly quite deep and profound aspects to my connection with a particular person. And just in order to explain these things, I went looking for information about twin flames. And I came upon Jeff and Shaleia's channel and I watched as many of their videos as I could stomach. So this is back in 2017. You might recall this is the same period of my life that I fell victim to some of Matthew Hussey's content as well. It was a bit of a strange time. But I watched a few of Jeff and Shaleia's videos, and honestly, I couldn't get through that much of their content. I just found them quite insufferable as people. They are to me, they come across as really arrogant and know it all, and they're very young. They don't kind of proclaim to have any sort of qualifications or any um, expertise which makes them equipped to talk about the things that they're talking about, or which, gives them an air of even knowing what they're talking about. It's basically all their content is, this is the way it is because we say so. And you're kind of like, well, who are you? And why should I believe you? Why should I trust you? What backing or reasons can you possibly put forward to support what you're saying? But basically, their entire expertise rests on the idea that they claim to be a twin flame couple, who is in union, meaning they are married to one another. They've been in a relationship for a number of years. And we have to kind of just take their word for it that they are twin flames. And thus, because they are in union, we should listen to them. And so before we look at some of their content, let's just go over briefly what the concept of the twin flame means. And I would encourage you, if this is something that interests you, which I can fully understand because it's something that fascinated me enormously at one point. But if this is something that interests you, please don't take Jeff and Shaleia's definition or their concept of what it means as being the truth or the final word on the subject. From what I can gather, the concept of a twin flame refers to the idea that you have a divine soul partner, someone who shares the same kind of soul DNA as you, and you are in two separate bodies here on Earth, but you have this kind of irresistible magnetic pull towards one another because you share the same kind of soul DNA, the same basic soul makeup. And that explains the intense chemistry and the intense feelings of attraction that you feel when you're around this person. Now, this is a very, very attractive concept to a lot of people because I think many of us have had this experience where we've met someone and just had this very profound sense of magnetism to that person. And maybe there are kind of strange events that happen in our relationship with that person that we can't quite explain. And so we put it down to being something mystical. And I can fully understand this. These sorts of relationships are often very fraught and often filled with drama, and they often don't actually turn into these very kind of harmonious and easy and happy relationships that we would, most of us need and that most of us crave. And I think a lot of people, when they have these sorts of intense experiences with a person that they claim is their twin flame, they would love to have a happy, contented relationship with that person. And so often that just isn't the case. And Jeff and Shaleia are people who prey upon this desire that people have for this intensely connected, but also this harmonious and happy relationship. And they seem to have no understanding of what truly goes into a happy, harmonious relationship, which is very concerning. But a lot of people buy into this idea that you can have this happy, harmonious, and contented relationship with this person with whom you also have this intense chemistry. And actually, a lot of other spiritual teachers who teach about twin flames and who are very critical of Jeff and Shaleia have pointed out that the twin flame spiritual path isn't necessarily about being in a happy, contented, harmonious relationship with this person. Often it's not really about you and this person being in a relationship at all. It might actually be that you and this person never get to be in a relationship, and that's how it's supposed to be. But through your love for this person, through your spiritual awakening that happens as a result of meeting this person, you get to go on and do incredible things in the world, and it kind of spurs you forward in your purpose in life and helps you to learn things about yourself that you would otherwise not have learned. And I think that was more kind of my experience of the whole twin flame idea. As I said, I met someone with whom I had quite a powerful experience. And I quickly saw that this person and I were never going to really be able to be in a relationship, and that was for the best, really. But through that experience of meeting this person and through the kind of spiritual awakening that happened inside myself, I, learned a lot of things about myself, and I learned a lot of things about relationships, and it kind of took me into a deeper place within myself and kind of acted as fuel for some of the spiritual and personal growth that happened over the next few years. So that's kind of how I understand it, but that's not what Jeff and Shaleia teach. Jeff and Shaleia teach that the only acceptable path is to be in relationship with your twin flame, this person who's supposed to be your divine soulmate. The only acceptable path is to actually be in a physical relationship with them, for you two to be together here on earth, and to have this sort of really intense and often, as I say, rather dramatic relationship with this person. And almost to force it if need be, but that there is nothing more important than being in a relationship with this person. And that is just something I profoundly disagree with. And I hope to kind of share my own opinions about this as we go along in this video and as we look at some of Jeff and Shaleia's content. So without further ado, let's get into it. I'm going to be showing you 3 different videos from Jeff and Shaleia's channel. Now, they're all around about 10 minutes long, maybe a little bit less than that. But this is going to be a video that's on the longer side. So if you enjoy longer videos, hopefully you'll like this one. If not, I'm sorry, but maybe if you are going to watch this video, just buckle in and be prepared for a longer type video, because we're going to look at some of their content. And then after that, I'm going to look at the Vanity Fair article that was written about them back in 2020. The kind of raised awareness about some of the harmful practices within this group, the Twin Flames universe, and really kick-started the controversy, the kind of widespread controversy around this group, and brought more awareness and attention to the problems associated with these problematic twin flame teachers, and with Jeff and Shaleia more specifically, because they are really vile, really truly vile. And I don't say that generally about coaches and kind of influences that I cover on my channel. That's not something I say lightly. So for me to be making that sort of a judgment about them, for me, it means these people are truly awful. So yeah, without further ado, let's look at the first video. Now, this video is called What If Your Twin Flame is Married? So in this video, let me bring it up. I'm going to make myself smaller. In this video, they address a question, what to do if your twin flame is married to someone else. Because it seems like this is a question that they get a lot on their channel, amongst their followers. So just bear with me. Um, that's not the video I'm looking for. What if my twin flame is married to another? So it seems as if some of their followers, they become really obsessed with this concept of their twin flame, and very often the person who they believe is their twin flame really doesn't feel the same way about them. But Jeff and Shaleia teach that that pretty much doesn't matter. That the only thing that matters is being in union, in relationship with this person who is your twin flame. Whatever the cost, whatever it takes, you have to make that happen. And so the question then kind of arises from some of their followers, well, what if my twin flame is in a relationship with someone else? And as we'll see, Jeff and Shaleia really don't have a lot of respect for relationships that fall outside of their definition of twin flames. So let's go ahead and watch this video. Let's go right to the beginning. Okay.
Hi, I'm Shaleia.
And I'm Jeff.
And today we're talking about a very popular subject a lot of people have asking us about. What if my twin flame is married? Or I guess, what if I met my twin flame and I'm married? Or, that whole mumbo jumbo mess of...
Yep.
I just feel like I need to point out at this particular juncture, and I'm sure I will be pointing this out a few times because it just is something that stands out to me so much. Jeff just has no warmth about him at all. To me, his eyes are just really dead. He's got this very kind of haughty, cold demeanor about him. Shaleia comes across to me as a lot more personable, a lot warmer. I believe she's in an abusive relationship with Jeff. I think he's an abusive person. But to me, he just comes across as someone who is just so completely cold and devoid of any feeling. So let me know what you guys think about that.
There's a spouse involved and they're not your twin flame and you don't want to be with them or they don't want to be with them, but you want to be with your twin and your twin wants to be with you, or la-di-da.
So I think that we should preface all this video by stating that we profoundly respect marriage. And we profoundly respect our marriage.
So they say this, that they profoundly respect marriage. But what we'll see in the video and in the subsequent video that I'm going to show you is that they really don't respect marriage. They respect a marriage that is between so-called twin flames. But if the marriage is between two people that don't claim to be twin flames, maybe just two ordinary people who don't subscribe to the whole twin flame mumbo jumbo nonsense, they don't respect that sort of marriage, and we will see that. So they provide this as a disclaimer, I presume, just to make themselves not look like total, totally terrible people, but they really don't respect marriage. So yeah.
And we also profoundly respect the twin flame union.
Yes.
I grew up and my parents were married. Shaleia grew up with married parents as well. Families were married.
Not really. Mine were half married.
They were married for a time, right? Anyway.
Shaleia is estranged from her family. I don't know about Jeff and what his relationship is like with his family, but Shaleia is estranged from her parents. She's not in contact with them. And she's also changed her name. She was born Megan Plant, and she is now Shaleia Divine, I believe is what her name is, probably because she thinks it makes her sound more spiritual. But anyway, she has to get that kind of little dig in there about her parents, which is interesting. And this is another thing that these two have been accused of. They have been accused of separating people from their families and encouraging people to cut contact with their families, as they themselves have done. As I say, I don't know about Jeff. I think he's also estranged from his family, if I'm not mistaken, but Shaleia definitely is estranged from her family. And many of their followers have become estranged from their families since joining this group. And I think it's a good idea to point out that a lot of these high control groups, these cult-like groups, uh, and I think this is fairly well known, they go to a lot of effort to isolate you from people in your lives and to isolate you from people who are not part of the group. And we'll see this happening in this video. They kind of diminish and disparage people who are in relationships that are not so-called twin flame relationships, and how those aren't kind of real relationships. They don't really regard those as true marriages or true relationships. And again, this just makes people who follow their work and their teaching feel very different and isolated from other people. So I just thought that was a good thing to point out.
Anyway, so that we're both grew up amongst the institution, among the institution of marriage, and we both desire and appreciate it. So with that being said, we also profoundly respect the twin flame union and see that as a much, much higher form of marriage.
Well, because that's true marriage. Because with your twin flame, you've been married in spirit, and you've been married in spirit since you were created together. You know, you're natural companions, and in many respects, it's unnatural not to be with your twin flame. So when you start feeling,
it's unnatural not to be with your twin flame. So again, they're passing judgment on anyone who chooses not to be in a relationship with their so-called twin flame, and they're saying that that's unnatural. So, I mean, I don't know who they are to get to decide what's natural and what's unnatural. And they also never kind of make it clear who they are to decide whether two people are twin flames or not. Who actually gets to make that pronouncement? I mean, it's all very, very vague and ethereal. And people like Jeff and Shaleia basically just get to determine whether people are twin flames or not, and thus whether they are natural or unnatural. And they're making this pronouncement that marriages, they started the video by saying that they respect the institution of marriage, and then they immediately say that not being with your twin flame is unnatural. So those marriages that are not between two so-called twin flames are unnatural. You see the contradiction that is already coming through here.
this discomfort, like if you're in a marriage, you start feeling uncomfortable because you.
Gee, Jeff is just dead behind those eyes, isn't he? I mean, he is just, there is just no feeling or life there at all. That's just how it comes across to me.
Know beyond a shadow of a doubt that you met your twin flame. Well, it's time to start thinking about what really matters. And for many of you, there are children involved, or your twin flame has children, and this children are usually involved. And I would like to simply say that if the parents are happy, the children will be happy.
That's really it.
That's the truth of it, and a lot of times
it doesn't have to. I don't mean to cut you off. It doesn't have to look like the a certain way on the outside. The outside.
Did Jeff look like he was sorry to cut her off? Because he certainly didn't look sorry to me. And we'll see this is kind of a bit of a theme in these videos. Jeff is really arrogant. He really doesn't talk very nicely to Shaleia.
It does not matter to children. Yeah. It's how the parents feel on the inside that matters above all else.
Yes, children would rather come from a broken home than be in a broken home. And when you're coming into union with your twin flame and you're bringing your children or merging two families together as one, I can guarantee it's going to be wonderful, because you and your twin flame are meant to be. You're happy, you're in love.
They can't guarantee that. They cannot guarantee that a relationship between two so-called twin flames is going to be wonderful and that the children are just going to love it. They can't possibly guarantee that. They don't know every circumstance. They don't know every family. They don't know what every home life is like. I mean, this is just such dangerous and irresponsible advice. And I think it's also worthwhile at this point to point out that they are only addressing a situation where two people who, one of them may be married or both of them may be married to other people, but they want to be together. They're only addressing a situation like that where two so-called twin flames want to be together. Well, what about the situation, which has happened with many of their followers, where one person wants to be with the other person who is married to someone else, but that person who is married to someone else doesn't want to be with them. I mean, they are happily married to another person, but just because the person who's part of Jeff and Shalea's group believes that this person is their twin flame, even though they're married to someone else, they don't address that situation. They don't address a situation where this person's so-called twin flame doesn't want to be with them. They're conveniently only addressing a situation where two people want to be together. And you know what? If two people want to be together and one of them is married or both of them are married to someone else and they believe that they would be happier with each other, I'm not going to pass judgment on that necessarily. You have to do what makes you happy in life. But it isn't acceptable if your so-called twin flame is married to another person and doesn't want to be with you. It's not acceptable to kind of try and force that vision on them. You can't do that to people. You do have to respect the legal and emotional boundaries of that person if they are in a relationship with someone else. And they want to be in that relationship with someone else. They don't want to be with you. And this is a problem that comes up over and over again in this group, where you have followers who believe that their twin flame is this other person who's married to someone else. And they're like, well, what should I do? What should I do? I mean, I think it's pretty obvious what you should do. You should respect that person's relationship and leave them alone. But not according to Jeff and Shaleia. So
hopefully it's a harmonious union. That's what we teach, and we have courses on that. And so it's naturally going to benefit the family. Anything that you do for love, everyone wins. Win, 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 win. So I guess pretty much in a nutshell, if you're married or your twin is married and you desire to be together, I say you have to go for it. You can't live an unlived life. You can't walk on this planet knowing that your twin flame is walking on the planet too and you're not together. And I think it's also selfish to not free that non-twin flame spouse to their own twin flame union, or at least to a more harmonious partnership that would be most beneficial for them, which will naturally benefit the children if there are children involved.
So we've personally worked with many twin flames who have been in marriages or whose twin flame has been in marriages.
Yeah.
And the marriage falls apart effortlessly when it's not with your twin flame and you're choosing your ultimate lover.
Yeah.
It's not a hard, horrible divorce. It's an easy, simple thing for everyone involved. And it's positive for
divorce will just be easy and simple and positive for everyone involved, and the children will love it, and it's all just going to fall apart effortlessly. They cannot guarantee this. This is very irresponsible advice to say, well, just leave your marriage, just, leave your children's mother or father and it'll all be fine. You'll effortlessly come together with your twin flame, and the divorce will be all very peaceful and everyone will just love it and everyone will be so happy about it. They cannot guarantee that. They have no idea what they're talking about. Zero idea what they're talking about. And this is just such dangerous and, toxic advice. Not to be advising people to, really, really consider these decisions more deeply. And it's a very big thing to leave a marriage. And to say to people, oh, well, just leave and it'll all be fine. God will take care of the rest. I mean, this is just so irresponsible.
For everyone involved. The dissolution of marriage is no small thing. But if you're doing it for spirit, for
It's no small thing, but go for it anyway. It'll all be fine. It'll all work out. Just trust us. We're gurus.
higher love, then it's easy.
And it's supported, and that's why it's easy, because it's absolutely supported.
Now, you don't have to worry about whether your twin flame is married or not. Because as you're choosing your ultimate lover, that's your partner. That's not anyone else's partner. So you don't have to share them with anyone.
Says who? So, who makes that determination? You're saying that this is my partner, even though they're married to someone else, this is my partner, because I say so, or because Jeff and Shaleia says so. I mean, who gets to decide that? Is it just something you feel? Is it something you have to receive a divine message from God about? I mean, they're intentionally leaving this very, very vague. It's just more or less, well, if you believe this person is your twin flame. But I mean, let's not forget how kind of how fraught romantic relationships can be. No one can know for certain if someone else is their one person. I mean, it's not something that you can say for certain. There's no way to know that. But Jeff and Shaleia are talking as if you can know that for certain. And again, this is just very harmful and dangerous advice.
Anyone, or you don't have to wait until they finish with their other person. You need to simply choose your ultimate lover. If you're waiting on your twin flame, it's an illusion. You're simply waiting on yourself. It's never ever about them.
Yeah.
It's never about them.
This is another thing they're very fond of saying, and they call it the mirror exercise. Everything is about you and nothing is ever about someone else. I mean, this is just really manipulative stuff. They're kind of indoctrinating people not to pay any attention to their outward circumstances, to the external environment, but only to pay attention to their own teachings and to what's going on inside themselves, which Jeff and Shaleia can kind of like fiddle around with and manipulate. It's very harmful. It's very irresponsible. It's not encouraging people to see reality. It's encouraging people to stay in this very delusional world.
Yes.
So dissolve that marriage. Don't worry.
We respect marriage. We respect the institution of marriage, but dissolve that marriage. Total hypocrisy and contradiction.
Worry about that spouse.
Yeah.
If your heart's true calling is your twin flame, there's nothing that can stand between the two of you. Nothing at all.
Yeah.
Only love is real, and love never fails.
And I just want to mention too that if you are unmarried or in the process of divorce and you met your twin flame and they're still married, I believe that it would be out of integrity to not make yourself known or make moves, like Jeff and I are saying. Of course we respect and honor the agreement of marriage.
But just 10 seconds ago you said dissolve that marriage. So how does that work, Shaleia?
But to us, the twin flame union trumps a marriage that is not with your twin flame.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I also encourage to pursue your twin flame, no matter what the outside appearances look like.
They encourage people to pursue their twin flames, whether or not their so-called twin flame is interested, returns their feelings, whether or not that twin flame is in a relationship with someone else, regardless of whether they're on the other side of the world or the other side of the country. Jeff and Shaleia encourage people to pursue their twin flames. Now, again, I'm sure I don't have to point out why this is such harmful advice and why this is such a potentially destructive and dangerous path to go down. People have had restraining orders placed against them by following this advice of Jeff and Shaleia. So, this kind of advice, if taken to its logical extremes. Oh, by the way, Jeff and Shaleia have actually praised these people who've had restraining orders put against them, which is incredibly concerning. But if this sort of advice that Shaleia is talking about is taken to its extremes, we're looking at a situation of profound disrespect for that other person who might not actually want to be with this person who thinks that they're their twin flame. You have to respect what other people want. You have to respect other people's boundaries. And Jeff and Shaleia really don't care about that. They don't care about other people's wishes. They don't care about other people's boundaries. All they care about is this so-called truth of twin flame union, and they will pursue it at whatever cost. And I mean, I just think it's all kind of summed up in Jeff's expression over there. He just looks, as I say, I just can't help feeling every time I look at him, he's just completely dead behind those eyes. There's no warmth, there's no caring, for people. There's just no sense of love behind what he's doing or behind his words. He's just totally cold, and it always strikes me every time I see him on the screen.
And trust that it's fully supported by heaven, because you've been choosing your twin flame and your ultimate lover all the way along, and spirit's guiding you here now. You're at this point in your life now with your twin flame. And so a lot of the blocks and barriers to your twin flame union are the blocks and barriers that you are experiencing inside of yourself. And this is why we've created our 2 courses, Twin Flames Dreams Coming True and Twin.
See, they have to make their followers believe that all of the blocks and barriers that they're experiencing in trying to get into a relationship with their twin flame are inside themselves, because they have to try and sell their courses to their followers. And they can only do that if their followers believe that they themselves are the problem. They can only sell their courses and their books and their, workshops if their followers believe that there is something that they themselves can do in order to make this twin flame love them back, in order to manifest or create this twin flame relationship. And so don't kid yourself. That is the entire reasoning behind it all. They're trying to sell their courses, they're trying to sell their books and their workshops and their coaching packages, and they can only do that if their followers believe that they themselves are the problem, because then Jeff and Shaleia can get their grubby little paws inside their heads and their wallets. So that's what it's all about. There's no truth in this sort of doctrine or this sort of teaching. Not everything is about you. Not everything is your fault. Sometimes, circumstances just are what they are, and you can't change them by just thinking differently about it or working on yourself more. Sometimes you just have to accept your circumstances for what they are. You have to accept another person's choice and another person's behavior for what it is, and there's nothing you can do to change it. But again, that doesn't really allow Jeff and Shaleia to sell their courses or their books. So they have to reject that very logical way of thinking in favor of this mirror exercise nonsense.
Twin Flames Romance Attraction. The first few lessons are free, most of them. So you can kind of understand how you can start to maneuver yourself in a positive and harmonious direction to your twin flame union in a way that is in integrity with yourself and with your union.
Very good.
Very good. So I think we may have answered this subject on twin flames and marriage. I think
Except that they haven't. They've only addressed, as I said earlier, they've only addressed the situation where two so-called twin flames want to be together. They haven't addressed a situation which many of their followers are in, where they have this person that they like, that they want to be with, but that person doesn't want to be with them. And Jeff and Shaleia don't really address that. Oh, sorry. They do address it by saying just basically relentlessly pursue that person no matter what the outward circumstances seem to be, no matter what that person is saying, just keep pursuing them until the end of time. And what? And then what? Okay, so let's go on to the next video, which is kind of similar, but they go even kind of deeper and more extreme in this video. This video is called What If My Twin Flame Is With Another? And let's just see what Jeff and Shaleia have to say this time.
Hi there, I'm Jeff.
I'm Shaleia.
And today we're going to talk about what if your twin flame is with another. Ooh, they're married, they're dating, they're flinging, they're busy, they're interested in someone else, but definitely not you. Or maybe they're kind of interested in you, but they're with someone else at the time, or whatever the circumstance may be. Ooh, you mad about that? You mad, bro?
Shut up.
This guy is just insufferable. I mean, these two are actually regarded as spiritual gurus by some people. This man-child is regarded as a spiritual guru by his followers. He is an insufferable twat, in my opinion. He really, really is.
You mad? You mad they're with another? Is this a video where I just perturb you and then we laugh? No.
No.
It's a video where we point out where you're upset and you make a new choice.
Right.
The new choice can be made.
Just really insincere as well. You know, he goes from this kind of jokey frat boy type of demeanor to like this soft, gentle, kind of quiet tone of voice. It's so manipulative. It's so disingenuous. It's so insincere. I mean, this is why I really couldn't get through their videos. I just find him in particular to be really insufferable and just really arrogant and such a know-it-all. But anyway, we're just going to try to get through this video and we'll do our best.
Now. So let's lay some
Basic
foundation.
foundation here.
You want to lay it or you want me to lay it?
No, you can lay it down.
Seemed like you were excited to lay the foundation. We'll give you the
No,
opportunity to do
I'm
so.
just happy to repeat what you're saying.
That's very telling, isn't it? I mean, she kind of laughs nervously at the end of that, but she says, I'm just happy to repeat whatever you're saying. I mean, I think that tells you a lot about their relationship, and that he always kind of needs to be the center of attention. He always needs to be right. And God forbid that she should challenge him or say anything original, and that she shouldn't just parrot everything that he says back to him and just kind of blow smoke up his ass and tell him how wonderful and enlightened he is all the time. I mean, I really feel sorry for women who are in relationships like this. And again, like we have this maniacal smile and this maniacal laugh that Jeff does. He thinks it's fantastic that Shaleia is just going to repeat everything he says back to him. He doesn't want a true twin flame. He doesn't want an equal. He wants a toady. He wants a yes person. He wants a lackey. He wants a bunch of lackeys around him, all telling him that he is fantastic and he is the most enlightened person in the world and he is the second coming of Jesus, apparently, is what he's claimed. Yes, he did actually claim that. That's a whole different video for a different day, perhaps. But I just feel, I feel as much as Shaleia is a perpetrator in all this awful stuff that these two are doing, I think she's also a victim of Jeff. I really do. That's how I see it anyway. And, you know, we'll see another example of that in the third video that I'm going to show you just now. But I just think it's really sad the way she said, no, I'm just happy to repeat everything that you say. You know, I mean, that's really quite tragic.
Is pre-peed a word? Because I think that's what you really did.
What?
You pre-peed.
No.
You pre-peeded what I said. You said what I was going to say.
That's not a real word.
Pre-peed.
No.
It's a word now. Look it up.
It's a repeat.
He's going to go on and on and on about this word that he made up until he gets the reaction from her that he wants, until she says, "Oh, Jeff, you're so funny. You're so clever. You've just made up a word." Oh, but she's just saying, no, that's actually not really a word. And he just goes on and on about it. I mean, this man is just so insufferable, and he is so up himself.
No.
Someone's going to put that in Urban Dictionary.
Alright, just move forward now.
Anyway.
She's over it.
I'm still stuck
Just
on
move
pre-peed. I
forward.
think it's funny. What if your twin flame is with another? What if your twin flame is with pre-peed instead of with the video? Well, you're going to have to punch him in the face and get him going.
Oh, boy.
So, anyway, back to business.
Back to business. So, we did a video on, what if your twin flame is married? And, this video is somewhat similar to that, but also a different. And
We'll go a little more expansive on this one.
yeah, we're going to go a little
bit.
We're going to push the envelope a little bit because, of course, not everyone's twin is married, and there's a little bit of a different circumstance, but at the same time, similar here. So let's talk about it.
So, the basic foundation is this. You were created with a divine complement, with a partner in eternal life. You were given the gift of eternal life by your creator.
You just have to take their word for this. They have no real kind of evidence to back up any of what they're saying. It's just simply because they say so, that they present this as truth. And yeah, I mean, I suppose all of religion and spirituality is faith-based. There's not really any hard evidence for most of what people believe spiritually. But in this case, I think it's particularly concerning that these are two very young people who have no real life experience, no real, reason that we should trust them, and reason that we should say that we should believe that they know what they're talking about, or that they have any basis for any of the claims that they're making. These two kind of claim to be, in recent times, they have claimed to be sort of almost godlike spiritual teachers who have received special been specially ordained by God and all this sort of thing. But it's up to you if you believe that. I would venture to guess that most of my audience don't believe that. I think the vast majority of the world just looks at them and sees two kind of rather insufferable emo kind of normal people. But Jeff and Shaleia love to present everything that they say as being true and unquestionable, and it is beyond question. You can't debate it, you can't discuss it, it just is how it is. And if any of their followers dares to question them, there are harsh repercussions. Let's just put it that way.
Creator, you did not create yourself. You did not create your twin flame.
No.
You did not create the universe. The universe is created for you. You were given the gift of life, and now you can do whatever you will with that gift of life. You were given the gift of an eternal divine complement, and you can do whatever you will with that eternal divine complement, because you are one choosing being together. Good. So, you have one twin flame, extremely, very much most likely for you, one twin flame. Eternally. That twin flame will never change and become someone else. You can't make someone new your twin flame. You were given a twin flame by God.
Yeah.
You were given life by God. Simple foundation.
He really thinks he's saying something so profound here. He, you can see, he is just so pleased with himself and with the words that are coming out of his mouth. But it's all just nonsense. It's all just vague word salad. Nothing that you can put your finger on, nothing specific, nothing that you can actually learn anything from. It's just these kind of vague, incredibly basic so-called truths that he's just spewing out. And he just thinks he is just so intelligent and so enlightened for saying things like, you were created, you didn't create yourself, you have a twin flame, no one else can be your twin flame. I mean, it's just this incredibly basic garbage that probably a 5-year-old could come up with. And people actually believe these two are spiritual gurus. It's just beyond my comprehension. It really is.
Now, you might choose to not be with your twin flame and subsequently choose to be with others. That's fine. It's a lie. It's bullshit. It's an illusion. If
you choose not to be with your so-called twin flame, it's a lie, it's an illusion, it's bullshit. Again, you know, they're kind of upping the ante from the last video. In the last video, they called it unnatural. And in this video, they're calling it a lie, an illusion, and bullshit. And so they're essentially, without coming out directly and telling people what to do with their lives, they're essentially telling people what to do with their lives and how to live their lives. And that's the only way to, according to these two, to, I don't know, live a worthwhile life is to pursue your twin flame relentlessly until they, you know, you are able to be in some sort of relationship with them. And if you aren't able to be in a relationship with them, you just keep going, I suppose, until you die. And that is the only worthwhile life, according to Jeff and Shaleia. I mean, how people can't see what nonsense this is quite baffling to me. But unfortunately, when you have people who are vulnerable, people who, you know, have obsessions and are in a vulnerable state, they're just desperate to be loved, or they're just desperate for what Jeff and Shaleia are promising them, that they can have this kind of magical relationship with this person that they have these feelings for. All of this kind of teaching is very seductive, and it's very, you know, people who are in this vulnerable position are very susceptible to this sort of teaching, because Jeff and Shaleia are telling them basically what they want to hear, that it is possible to be in a relationship with this person that they love, that they shouldn't be doing anything else with their lives, that their obsession is justified. They're not telling people to get help or to maybe, you know, spend their life on healthier pursuits. They're encouraging people to keep going with this obsession. And as I say, unfortunately for people with certain mental health issues and people who are vulnerable and people who are in unrequited love, who are experiencing unrequited love, this sort of thing is music to their ears. It's telling them, yes, keep going. You're right to be obsessed. You're right to have this unhealthy fixation with this person.
Happy fappy time.
Right.
It's not real. So your twin flame may appear to be with someone else, but it's just a lie, and you can choose differently.
Well, this is another...
Your twin flame tells you they're happily married to someone else or happily in a relationship with someone else, but they're lying. Don't believe them. Just keep harassing them. Keep stalking them.
Part of numbing out, isn't it?
What do you mean?
Not choosing to be with your twin flame.
Yeah.
Is numbing out to yourself and to who you really are, and experiencing, you know, this deep level of divine love that, you know, you were created in, with, and for. You know, we just did a video on numbing, and I'm just like, oh yeah, you know,
Yeah.
it's kind of true.
So, the truth is that your twin flame is yours, and you are theirs eternally, and you can be no one else's, and no one else can be theirs, and they can be no one else's, and you can have no one else but them. This is the truth. Just like, you know, an apple tree is an apple, and you might see it as, you know, a collection of cells or a collection of electrons and such. You might see it as a table, which, you know, nice wood,
firewood,
right?
or-
Firewood. Or you might see it as a profitable asset. You might see it as
many
a
different
worm
things.
pie, right? But at the end of the day, it's still an apple tree, and everyone knows that. It is not.
Wow, Jeff, that's really profound. An apple tree is still an apple tree. I'm so glad that we came to you for your sage wisdom and your profound spiritual teachings. Don't know quite what I would have done without that insight, Jeff. An apple tree is still an apple tree. Your twin flame is yours, and you are theirs, and everything else is just a lie. What has that got to do with an apple tree? Maybe someone in the comments can. Maybe I'm just not enlightened enough to know what the connection is with the whole apple tree analogy. Maybe someone can explain it to me.
A potato. To
Apple
call it a
tree is not
potato and say that it's your truth is insane. It is stupid. It is ridiculous.
Right.
That is ridiculous.
It's stupid. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I mean, people follow this guy, like they call him a spiritual leader.
To say that your twin flame has some sort of karmic residual stuff to go through with this person
Oh God.
is insane.
Get over that.
It's stupid.
It's not true.
It's like the potato.
Yeah.
That person,
It's like the potato. Sorry, Jeff, have no idea what you're talking about. You are talking complete nonsense word salad. It's like a potato. To say that your twin flame has to be with this other person is like a potato. I mean, maybe his teachings have evolved and got more intelligent than this over the years. I don't know. But how this man managed to get, tens of thousands of followers based on videos like this is just completely beyond me.
being, your divine complement is yours and yours alone. So show up. Claim them. If you've already claim them more.
Show up at their work. Show up when they're with their new partner and claim them. It doesn't matter if they call the police. It doesn't matter if they tell you to go away. Just claim them some more.
Show up again. That is your
Show up
person. It's
again.
no one else's person. Claim
Right.
them. Claim them.
Yeah. If Jeff had a girlfriend and I knew that he was my twin flame, like unequivocally knew he was my twin flame, it wouldn't stop me. And I'm definitely not that person or what, that would, I'm not like a home wrecker. But this is different when it's your twin flame, because, bitch, you're with my man.
They're the home wrecker.
They're the home wrecker, it's not me.
So if they're married to someone else, if they're in a relationship with someone else, and they say they want to be with this person, Jeff and Shaleia are saying this other person is actually the home wrecker, even though the two of them are quite happy together, and you're coming along as the third party. They're saying, no. No, I know it looks like they're in a marriage and in a relationship with someone else, but that's not really the truth. Your eyes are deceiving you. Actually, that other person is the home wrecker, and you actually need to be with that person. And if they're resistant, just keep going and keep claiming them. What could possibly go wrong?
It doesn't matter if they're engaged, if they're married, if they have children or a business together.
Now, bear in mind, in the previous video, they said that they respect the institution of marriage. And now you've just heard Shaleia say it doesn't matter if they're engaged. Doesn't matter if they're married or have children or a business with someone else. None of that matters. You just keep going. Just keep at it. That's not creepy at all.
It doesn't matter.
God will sort that out.
God
That's not
will
your
sort
job
that
to
out.
do that.
But that's
Your job is to choose your
That's your
ultimate
twin.
lover
Right.
and claim them. And if you have any reason why not to be with them right now, other than I'm not feeling compelled to move forward in that direction in my heart, then all the other shit's bullshit. If you're not feeling compelled to move forward to be with them in your heart, then look in your heart and resolve all the numbing, resolve all the blocks, resolve all the upsets,
Right.
clear the way. And when the way is cleared, you will feel compelled.
Exactly.
But in the meantime, you'll feel compelled to clear the way. Because Because if you can't see the way and you're numbed out to the way, you need to heal. And that's why we have all this work.
I think he realizes that he is just spouting a whole lot of word salad nonsense and that none of what he is saying makes sense. I mean, I think you can see it in his face. He realizes this is some bullshit that he is that he is saying, and he's trying to keep a straight face. If you're not being called to be with your twin flame, there are blocks in your heart, so clear the way and keep clearing the way until and clear the blocks and until you can move forward. It's all just it's such nonsense. It really, really is. It's just it's quite funny, really. You know, to try and get anything useful out of these videos. You know, to try and make sense of what this man is saying. Anyway, so now we know what Jeff and Shaleia think about marriage and relationships and what they think about stalking and harassing. Let's move on to the third video that we're going to look at, which is also really concerning for a number of reasons. This video is called "Why Can't I Make My Twin Flame Love Me?" Now, the title of this video alone is very concerning because, as I've already pointed out, you have a whole lot of people in this group who are in unrequited love situations where they have strong feelings for a person who doesn't have those same feelings for them. And they come to people like Jeff and Shaleia saying, well, I believe this is my twin flame, but they don't actually love me. They don't want to be with me. What should I do? Now, a normal person in that situation would hopefully realize if this person doesn't want to be with you, you need to move on. You need to let go and move on and find someone else. Go in a different direction. Wish them well, and go on your way. Just, you know, move on. Not Jeff and Shaleia, because they have some courses to sell. That they can only sell you if you believe that, you know, if this person doesn't love you, then there's something wrong with you. And they have the perfect course to sell you to fix what's wrong with you. So anyway, let's get into the video and let's see what they have to say.
Welcome to our channel. I'm Jeff.
I'm Shaleia.
And today we're going to ask the question and talk about why can't I make my twin flame love me? They're my supposed ultimate lover, best friend, perfect divine complement, perfect partner eternally. God created this person for me. I was created for this person. You know, by God, we're designed to be together.
Yeah.
Why can't I make them love me?
Stop.
This guy really is an insufferable prick. He really is. I mean, I don't know how many times I've already said this, but he is considered a spiritual guru by many people. And he carries on like a frat boy with the emotional maturity of a primary school child. I mean, I just can't stand him in particular.
Why can't I make them love me? I go to Ascension School. I watch e-courses by Jeff and Shaleia. I watch their videos. I do everything they say pretty much. Why can't I make my twin flame love me?
Yeah.
Well, do you know?
Is HelloFresh worth the price?
Sorry about
Absolutely.
that, guys.
I just
Sorry
love
about
the
that.
idea of having.
Let's skip.
Yeah. Because you can't control the other person.
You can see Shaleia has had enough of his shenanigans. She is not having it. This poor woman. I bet you she wishes she had left him ages ago, but she can't now. The two of them are stuck with each other. They're twin flames, damn it. And they are stuck with each other.
We just did a video about that, didn't we?
We did. And you
Wow.
can't get something from someone else. Even I can't get something from Jeff. I have to give it to myself.
What if you want me to make you a pizza?
And Jeff reflects that. Well, anytime that I have a desire.
This man has the maturity of a 5-year-old. He really does. What if you want me to make you a pizza? Are your followers supposed to be gaining some kind of profound spiritual knowledge from that comment, Jeff? Like, what's that about? Honestly.
Desire that comes from love, Jeff will fulfill it.
Oh. Well, I guess I want to make you a pizza if I make you a pizza.
Well, that's true too.
People suggested that Jeff really has some sort of personality disorder or some kind of deep mental illness. And I watched a video which suggested, the person making the video suggested that Jeff has, profound, some sort of deep mental health condition. And I tend to agree. He comes across to me as profoundly unstable and very unhinged in these videos. Not to mention that to me, he seems to have this simmering anger underneath the surface that it comes across in the cold way that he looks at the camera, this cold expression in his eyes, this very kind of deadpan way that he has about him. To me, it belies a very, very strong, powerful sort of anger that's simmering just below the surface. And I absolutely shudder to think what he is like behind the scenes. I've seen some of the videos that expose some of the way that he's behaved and the way that he talks to his followers, and people who disagree with him, people who gainsay him in any way. And he, to me, strikes me as a classically abusive person. Probably someone with a personality disorder. Obviously, I'm not a mental health professional, but it's just the way that he strikes me. And, how he comes across is just very, very kind of unhinged, unstable, and definitely not someone you want to be taking life advice or relationship advice from. Steer far, far away. Steer clear of people like this. Stay far, far away from people like this, honestly. If you need real relationship advice, please go to a professional, a licensed professional, and please steer clear of jokers like this.
Yeah, I mean, I never ask Jeff anything that's out of alignment with my divine self. And if it's not out of alignment with my divine self, then it just happens. I don't have to control.
Out of alignment with my divine self. How do you determine that, Shaleia? I mean, is there some sort of like checklist or test that you can run to determine whether something is in alignment with your divine self? I mean, to me, this seems, again, like more word salad that you can use to blame people for what's going wrong in their lives. And we're going to see this based on the anecdote that she's about to share, which is really quite sad. I felt quite sad when I heard about it.
Oh, hot dog. It's about control, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's about control.
Yeah, I think I had a moment probably like a couple of days ago where, we're, getting ready for bed, or we were in bed and, trying to fall asleep. And I was just feeling really upset, I guess, and just needing some.
What do you want to bet that Jeff is probably the one who upset her? I'd be willing to bet that he probably did something particularly jackassish, and that was why she was upset.
Comfort, and I wanted to cuddle so bad, but he didn't want to cuddle. He just wanted to fall asleep, because we don't fall asleep.
He looks so pleased about that. She wanted comfort. She was feeling upset. She wanted comfort. She wanted a cuddle. She wanted comfort from him to help her feel better, which, by the way, is a very, very normal human thing. We are social beings. We derive comfort from, being physically comforted by other people and from being reassured by those that we are close to. And he's busy smirking and smiling away when she said Jeff didn't want to cuddle me. And he's looking so pleased with himself. You can just tell he's like, yeah, I wasn't going to meet her needs. I coldly turned away from her and said, well, I'm not going to cuddle you. And he doesn't look as if he feels badly about her pain and her upset. He looks really happy that she was upset and that he didn't want to cuddle her. I mean, if my partner shared that with me, that they were upset and that they wanted comfort, I would be only too happy to give a cuddle. And if for some reason I can't, like if I was sick or sore or just emotionally not able to, I would not be feeling happy about that. But look at him. I mean, he's smiling and smirking away. I just want to slap his face, honestly. He just bothers me so much.
And cuddle. We're not that kind of couple. It's, you know.
His smile just gets bigger and bigger as he stares at the camera, and Shaleia is sharing about her experience. Ugh.
I don't know how people can do that. Anyway, and then I realized, I just felt like this gaping hole in my heart, and I was like, Jeff. But I knew.
She's telling him that she felt a gaping hole in her heart. I mean, that's sad. That's a distressing feeling, and he's laughing about it. He's grinning from ear to ear when she's sharing this. I mean, this guy's just like, he's a real piece of work. He really is, and it's upsetting me to watch this. I shudder to think what he must be like to be married to. I really do.
And I was talking to God, and God's like, you can't get it from Jeff. You know that. I'm like, I know that. And so I'm like, okay. And so like I rolled over, and I automatically felt better just rolling over because I made the
Please don't buy into this way of thinking. There is nothing wrong. If you are upset, there is nothing wrong with seeking comfort from the close people in your life. There's nothing wrong with seeking comfort from a partner, wanting a hug, wanting reassurance from your partner or people that you're close to. I mean, yes, there might be the odd occasion where they're not able to give you that comfort or that reassurance, in which case I hope that you have other support in your life that you can get it from. And I hope that it's not a regular thing where your partner is regularly denying you comfort and reassurance, because human beings are social creatures. We are kind of made to be in connection and relationship with each other and to get our needs met through our relationships. And so if your partner is treating you this way, that is not a sign of a healthy relationship. Regularly, I mean, if the odd time your partner's not able to comfort or reassure you, that's different. But if they are like this, jackass is doing and taking great delight in the fact that he refused to comfort his wife, that's not normal. That's not healthy. That's not good. And there is nothing wrong with you for wanting that comfort and reassurance. So please don't buy into this very toxic and warped advice that they're giving.
Choice to love myself and to take to relieve myself and Jeff of the pressure of trying to control him loving me in the way that I want him to love me. And just in doing that, I mean, I could feel like our union grow silently, just like that, where I'm not needy or dependent on him. And many of you hate that word, but that's something that really needs to get worked through, where you don't have to rely on your good to come through someone else.
Again, there's nothing wrong with loving yourself. And of course, we all should love ourselves, and we should try and get some of our needs met through what we can give ourselves. But there's also nothing wrong with seeking comfort and reassurance from the people in our lives. And you shouldn't ever be made to feel bad or weak for doing that. You shouldn't be made to feel like you're a clingy or needy person if you want that or if you ask for that. That's what relationships are for. They're there to help us in our difficult times. And if your partner can't be there when you're upset and when you need them, then what is the point of being in a relationship? You might as well just be single, really, if they're saying, you know, you should be trying to get everything that you need from yourself, from yourself. I mean, that's just not the way that human beings are designed. We have relationships with people in order to be interdependent, and it's not clingy or needy to be interdependent on the people in our lives. I mean, I just feel really sad for Shaleia, that this is what she's internalized. It makes me sad to see it.
And so, yeah, I felt better, and I decided to do meditation when I rolled over, and I was just going to that place in my heart where I could feel an upset or a hole, and it was just my inner child that didn't have a lot of comfort or comforting relationships in my past, and so I stepped in and I loved that part, and I gave myself the comfort and the love that I needed with God, and it was fine. I fell asleep pretty quickly after that, and I woke up in the morning and I felt great, you know. And then we were able to bond deep.
Jeff just has no emotion about what Shaleia is sharing at all. It's really concerning.
More deeply in the morning and be able to have a real balanced and loving exchange.
So you don't have to make me love you.
No, I didn't, and I certainly, if I had to, it wouldn't be a good relationship.
If that's how you're approaching your union, it ain't gonna work out very long.
Right.
You gotta make them do something for you to get what you want. That's control. But they won't. How do I get them to? Oh, you're looking at it wrong.
Yeah.
You're looking at the mirror and saying that there's something outside of yourself, and there's not. There's simply the universe, or God, or...
Like, he's going back to this mirror exercise that I talked about briefly just now. So many of you who may have looked into the Twin Flames universe a little bit or seen the documentary might know what the mirror exercise is about. But for those who haven't, the mirror exercise is this method devised by Jeff and Shaleia where you take everything that's upsetting you, everything that you find difficult, every problem that you have, and you invert it to make it about yourself. So for example, my boss yelled at me because I made a mistake at work. Instead, it would be, I yelled at me because I made a mistake at work. And you turn everything around, everything that you experience, you turn around and you put it on yourself. And I mean, you don't need to have a psychology degree to see why this would be incredibly toxic and problematic to promote as a way of dealing with life's challenges, because there is so much about the world that is outside of our control, and so much that rests on other people and other circumstances and factors that have nothing to do with us whatsoever. And they're not encouraging their followers to recognize this. Recognizing that the world is full of forces and factors at play that have nothing to do with you is a healthy way of looking at the world. But they're encouraging their followers to turn everything in on themselves and to pretty much blame themselves and take responsibility for things that have nothing to do with them. And it just increases feelings of vulnerability and shame amongst their followers, which, quite frankly, makes them much easier to control for Jeff and Shaleia, and it makes them much easier to sell courses and books and workshops and coaching packages to. And I believe that is the only reason that they promote this awful, horrible, toxic mirror exercise. But they refer to it often, so I thought I should just explain what the mirror exercise is about.
Or life reflecting back to you what it is you need to do. Let's think of it this way. If you need to plant a plant in the ground, so this is how I see a lot of students and a lot of people approaching it. They look.
He's about to launch into a whole metaphor about planting a plant, and he never ever ties it back to this whole issue of someone making their twin flame love them, or what the two have to do with each other. It's just this stupid metaphor that he goes on and on about and never ever ties it back to his original point. So I'm just preparing you for that. He goes on and on about it and never explains the relevance because, quite frankly, it's all nonsense and it doesn't make sense. So just let's listen to his analogy of the plant, and maybe you can get a good laugh as I did.
Look at the dirt, and I'm like, okay, you gotta dig a hole. And they get this big pickaxe, and they just gnash at it. And there's just a big gaping, like, tear in the earth. And I'm like, it's me. You didn't quite do it. You cover that up, and his little hand shovel.
Try again.
It doesn't require that. All you gotta do is just one little scoop. Just a little scoop. But if you don't know how to do it, man, get out the backhoe and start smashing windows. No, it's not that energy. It's not pour everything I got into it. I have the shovel, and now I will tell all others I have the shovel, and in this shovel I will put it into the ground. And my spiritual teacher told me to put it into... No. What a waste of time and energy. Bless you. Just sit down. Here's how it works. Shh. Take the plant, put it in the ground, pat the...
What in God's name has this got to do with making my twin flame love me, which is the title of this video? You know, he's just being an idiot.
dirt, and then you let go.
And then let go.
You did it! Nature does the rest. It rains, maybe you gotta come sprinkle a little water on it. If it doesn't rain, you put a little fertilizer around it, maybe pull some weeds, but you don't sit in front of it and like, grow, 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 grow. When will you produce tomatoes? I must have my pizza pie! What a waste of energy. What a waste of time. You just put it in the ground and you're good. Stop trying to control the plant to grow and give you tomatoes. It's designed to do that. The world is designed to support this. Why does my plant wilteth so? Because you're sitting on it. Get off of the...
He's been going on and on about this plant metaphor for the last 2 minutes and still hasn't explained what connection or relevance it has at all to the question that was asked, which provided the prompt for this video. He hasn't explained at all what it's got to do with making a twin flame love you. He's just carrying on like a crazy person.
Plant, then let it do what it's got to do. It's designed to love you. Your twin flame is designed to love you. So just relax. Let it do what it's designed to do. Let them do what they're designed to do. It's love you. But you're not going to get love from them. You need to get it from yourself by claiming and choosing it.
Yes.
Now you don't have to beam love at yourself all day. I just sit in meditation and beam love at myself. Oh God.
Once again, this guy is actually regarded as a spiritual teacher and a spiritual guru by many people. Just saying.
That's how love comes. Count me out.
Uh-huh.
Love is just there for you, always. It's gotta choose to lower your curtains and say, okay, come on in, love.
Right.
Finally, and love's like, wow, here's a pizza party.
God is always with you.
Right?
Yeah, but here's a pizza pie. I mean, he's such an idiot. But I mean, the question that this person asked was, they have this person that they think is their twin flame. This person, this twin flame of theirs, so-called twin flame of theirs, doesn't love them back. And you're saying, oh, well, just choose the love, just accept the love, just sit back and relax and let the love happen. Nature will support you. But there's no evidence of that. This person is specifically asking for advice and for help because they're saying, well, you, Jeff and Shaleia, have told me that if someone is my twin flame, I need to go and claim them. But this person doesn't want to be with me. So what do I do now? They don't want to love me. Oh no, well, just sit back and just let the love come to you. Just claim it. But nothing is happening. This person doesn't want to be with them. So all their teachings are just this complete nonsensical contradictory mumbo jumbo, word salad, vague, illogical, irrational collection of just mind effery, to be quite frank. That's how it comes across to me. And none of it makes sense, which probably is why their followers have basic questions like this. Well, why doesn't my twin flame love me? If they're my twin flame, Shouldn't they love me? Which is what you, Jeff, and Shaleia have told me should happen. And so Jeff decides instead to throw this whole big analogy of planting a plant at his audience and hope that something sticks, because he really can't answer this question. That's just what I think.
Always.
So why can't I make my twin flame love me? Because you're warping the universe in a way it's not supposed to bend.
I need to talk to you. We need help.
Sorry, guys.
The earthquakes this year have been some of the deadly.
It's like asking, why doesn't the nut eat me? You're supposed to eat the nut. You're not the nut. The nut's supposed to nourish you.
I'm Jeff Divine, and I'm a spiritual teacher. Why doesn't the nut eat me?
Not the other way around, right? You don't make your twin flame love you, they just love you. And if you refuse to see that by saying that they don't love you, you're looking at it and doing it wrong. They already love you. See them for the truth of who they are, and you'll start to realize that they are.
But what if they tell you, I don't love you? I don't want to be with you. I don't love you. There's a cognitive dissonance clearly that's happening in their followers in a situation like this, where Jeff is saying that they already love you, they do love you, but this person is telling them they don't love you. So, like, you can't really blame the followers for being completely confused and jumbled up in their minds. You know, none of this makes sense. And if you're hoping that someone is going to step in and encourage these people to see reality, well, you've got another thing coming, because that's not where Jeff and Shaleia are going with all of this at all.
Already loving you. They won't talk to you. Well, it's a good reason for it. They're loving you in the appropriate way.
Right, just like how I really desired Jeff to cuddle me when I was feeling kind of down and, in our bed. But that was him actually loving me more and loving me deeper by putting up a boundary and saying, no, it's not the time to cuddle. You know, I can't give you what you're asking.
Explain to me how that works. That was actually him loving her more by refusing to cuddle her. How is that him loving her more? I mean, again, this is the world of cults, where up is down, right is wrong, wrong is right, left is right, here is there, and nothing makes sense. And this is how cults manage to indoctrinate their followers. This is how cults manage to get away with the things that they do, because they completely strip away their followers' ability to make rational decisions and to evaluate situations in a logical and common sense way. With statements like this, well, Jeff was actually loving me more by refusing to cuddle me. It makes no sense, but to these people's followers, you know, they will believe anything that comes out of Jeff and Shaleia's mouth, whether it makes sense or not, because they've been primed to see, you know, everything as being back to front. Wrong is right and right is wrong. And so if Jeff and Shaleia say that it's more loving for someone not to love you, well, then it must be true. And you can only kind of evaluate this when you're on the outside of the cult, but when you're in it, your logical and rational thinking abilities have kind of been stripped away from you. So I feel really, really bad for people who are in this cult, and to be honest, I feel really bad for Shaleia herself, because she looks like she is just as much of a victim of it.
Asking for it, you have to give that to yourself. And so that was him loving me and loving our union and allowing us to deepen our love and our experience of our union, and to also be able to mature a little bit more, you know, like all of us are always in a process of spiritual growth and maturity. And when you get this one handled, well, then you stop giving your power away to anyone and anything in general. You know, no one can make you feel a certain way. Sure, you might have an experience of, wow, that person's a shithead, whatever. But no one makes
That's what Shaleia really thinks of Jeff.
you feel a certain way. You choose to feel a certain way. You know, someone could be spitting venom in your face and you could be smiling because you don't, it doesn't affect you. You're like, okay, you're having a bad day, aren't you? You know?
Yeah,
So,
I'm feeling complete.
okay, well, I guess we are complete here.
Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah.
If you haven't done so yet, subscribe to our channel. Stay in the know when we release new videos. They're coming out pretty regularly. And if you haven't done so, check out our website, twinflamesuniverse.com and
Yes.
divineguidancereadings.net. Linked below. There's a plethora of resources we offer to assist you at all levels of help.
Right, loving yourself is loving your union, and if you need help with that, check out our other resources in the box below, because they're designed to get you where you desire to go.
Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks, everyone.
Okay. So now I want to go over to the Vanity Fair article that was written, as I say, back in 2020. And it was pretty much the catalyst that kickstarted all the controversy around these two. And in this article, they reveal even more kind of problematic and concerning aspects of this. Well, it's really an organization at this point, the Twin Flames universe. It's grown into a massive online group, and it has a massive following. And the journalist from Vanity Fair actually spent time with Jeff and Shaleia at their house, and had extensive interviews with them, and then wrote this article. So let's go ahead and have a look. I'm going to read the whole thing. It is a long article. I know this video is getting long already, but personally, I enjoy these long style videos. So I hope you'll stick with me, and we will get into it and just discuss what the article has to say. So it starts off with the quote, obviously from a follower. Everywhere I went, they went with me because they were on my phone. Inside the always online, all-consuming world of Twin Flames Universe. Now, Twin Flames Universe is the name of Jeff and Shaleia's organization. Before we all spent our days on Zoom, the spiritual community used the power of its Facebook group and webcams to spread a gospel of eternal love and build its founder's business along the way. Is it a cult that has manipulated some members' understandings of their own genders, as ex-followers allege, or the outermost extremes of influencing? So there's Jeff and Shaleia. Jeff has kind of changed his look these days a bit from the videos that we've just watched. He has his hair kind of long and his beard a bit longer. He's kind of going for a more Jesus sort of vibe, because he actually believes that he is the second coming of Christ. This is what he said. So the gurus, Shaleia and Jeff Iron, run Twin Flames Universe, a sort of therapeutic spiritual reality show from their Michigan home with all the familiar trappings of the modern YouTube star. Katie woke to the sound of waves. She was in the back of her car, parked by foggy cliffs that hid the highway. Staying here felt nice, like camping. She peed in a mason jar and ate yogurt from her cooler. Not even the hikers knew that a woman was sleeping in her car at the trail head. Ooh. What's going on? Sorry, guys. Oh, I'm so sorry, everyone. That's really embarrassing. I need to find the article again. Bear with me. Right. Okay. Hmm. Oh my goodness. So, it looks like we can't read the article. I don't know why. Huh. It looks like you have to pay to read this article. I'm really sorry, everybody. I would love to have been able to read this article with you. Maybe I'll subscribe and we can read it together in another video. But um, yeah, basically, this journalist, Alice Hines, spent time with Jeff and Shaleia at their home and kind of was around them when they were working with some of their followers. And she noticed some very, very concerning aspects that are also raised in the documentary. But a lot of it has to do with the way that Jeff and Shaleia have influenced people to be in relationships with people that they might not have otherwise wanted to be in. You know, they might not otherwise have wanted to be in those relationships or with those people, but Jeff and Shaleia kind of claim that they are able to tell when two people are twin flames. They've also been accused of pressuring people to change genders and to have gender transformation surgery, or you know, have gender affirming surgery, I should say. But in this case, these are people who considered themselves cis and straight, and Jeff and Shaleia have kind of brainwashed them into believing that they are actually of a different gender. So this is some of the other toxic stuff that goes on inside this cult. Jeff is also shown to be a very abusive person. There are many instances of him just verbally and emotionally abusing his followers and his wife. And he's just really quite a scary person. And this group and these two in particular, Jeff and Shaleia, exert a great deal of control over their followers, which is just one of several signs that points to them being a cult. And anyway, I'm really sorry I couldn't read that article with you all. The article came up when I looked for it earlier. The whole article was there, and then when I went back to it, it seemed to be gone. Let me see if I can maybe find it. Just bear with me. I just want to see if I can maybe find it somewhere else. Just give me a sec. I'm going to just quickly try something. Let's see what we can do. Okay. Okay. Yeah. All right. It looks as if I was, huh. Okay. Let's try something else. I think I've managed to find it. All right, guys. Sorry about all of this. Right. Inside the Twin Flames universe. There we go. Right, let's read this together. Oh, this is unbearable. So, okay, so we read about Casey, and let's see what happened to Casey. So, Casey was sleeping in her car. Not even the hikers knew that a woman was sleeping in her car at the trailhead. Casey drove to the hospital. In the waiting room, she read articles on her phone. How is arachnoiditis diagnosed? What is cerebrospinal fluid? Her back sparked with pain. She took a deep breath and opened up YouTube. Twin flame rejection, video title read. A woman with many pigtails and rosy cheeks sat shoulder to shoulder with her husband. They spoke about what it was like to be separated from your twin flame, the person created by God as your divine counterpart. There is nothing outside of you that prevents you from being with your love, the man said. Only you. Twin flame gurus were easy to find on YouTube in the fall of 2017. That's when I got into this whole twin flame kind of rabbit hole. So the article goes on to say they popped up amid videos on astrology, tarot, healing crystals. The gist was that every human had a complementary partner whose being was attracted to their own, a kind of uber soulmate. Jeff and Shaleia, the couple in the video, were relationship coaches in Michigan. They had all the trappings of YouTubers. The hey everyone, the like and subscribe, the faces perfectly illuminated by camera lights. Jeff, then in his late 20s, geeked out on video games. Shaleia, in her early 30s, was an amateur photographer. Their videos attracted tens of thousands of views, occasionally more than 150,000. They also had a private Facebook group, which currently has more than 14,000 members. Now, this is back in 2020. I believe the Facebook group is more like 30,000 these days. And classes on Google Hangouts 4 times a week. Students shared their relationship problems while Jeff and Shaleia attracted sublime truths about their hopes and traumas. Subscriptions to the full run of this therapeutic reality show and its offshoots currently cost $4,444. The appeal of Twin Flames universe was that you could have what Jeff and Shaleia apparently had, what Shaleia called a deeper level of oneness, a harmonious twin flame union. The following spring, Katie paid Jeff for a private coaching session. She wanted to know if any of the love she experienced was real. If it was, why was she still alone? Jeff didn't answer that question, at least directly. How do you feel? Jeff asked her over Google Hangouts. He sounded far away, and there was occasionally a lag and crackle, but he scrutinized her through the screen. Katie paused to articulate herself. She felt afraid to receive Jeff's guidance, she explained, because most of her past experiences of love were followed by pain. Jeff told her that only she could fix herself. He suggested that she was not alone because she was not made alone and asked her to surrender herself to God. At one point, Katie told him, "My twin flame won't talk to me and thinks I'm crazy and has told all my family members. He doesn't love me," Jeff echoed in a mocking, high-pitched voice. As the session continued, Katie cried and lashed out and giggled and stared blankly. None of it seemed to satisfy Jeff. Exhausted, she grew quiet. She'd made progress, Jeff said, noting that when Katie watched the video later, "You're going to see 49 minutes of you getting better and better." And this is kind of like what we see in the videos with Jeff and Shaleia. Jeff kind of never seems engaged or satisfied with Shaleia or with the audience or with what he's talking about. He's just making these kind of bold and broad claims that don't seem to have any basis in reality or any basis in common sense. So, yeah, so it says Jeff and Shaleia confirmed what she already suspected. Her ex was indeed her twin flame. Perhaps Katie was holding herself back, they suggested. Her pain was rooted in the reality she chose to create, and health issues could stem from one's current thinking or past life behavior. Your body is an extension of your mind, meaning your mind is primary and your mind creates the body, Jeff told Katie in one class. Not food or exercise, added Shaleia. Or medical care, said Jeff. Wow, that's concerning. So this is Katie. Part of her sensed it might be a scam. Spoiler alert, it is a scam. But she was willing to try anything. A statuesque blonde with a throaty laugh, Katie had moved to the Bay Area after earning 2 undergraduate science degrees. For years, she spent her days in a university DNA lab and her evenings listening to techno records. On the weekends, she did yoga and went to clubs, festivals, or raves. Katie met her ex at Burning Man. Katie's not her real name. She asked me to call her that because it's safe and generic. He was the rare man taller than her. Their outfits matched, and they later found out they shared many of the same references, interests, and beliefs. They went on to spend nearly 2 years together. Then she got into a car accident, followed by medical leave, disability, surgeries, and pain. They broke up. After her 3rd spine operation, she was struggling to walk normally. She briefly left the Bay Area. Then a flare-up of pain from her spinal cord sent her back. She lived out of her storage unit and car. A new apartment proved evasive, as did old friends. The energy healer Katie saw couldn't tell her what was wrong. Neither could any of the dozen doctors or therapists. According to testimonials in the Facebook group, Twin Flames Universe yielded perks beyond romance. Students shared stories of miraculous transformations. Some made money, found new careers, healed their depression. They did it without visiting Jeff and Shaleia in person. These were miracles that could be accessed from the comfort of your computer chair, or in Katie's case, a coffee shop. To see results, Katie needed to commit. Some followers went to great ends. They moved cities and countries to be near the twin flames that Jeff and Shaleia affirmed for them. Others spent years waiting to magnetically attract exes. Still other followers found harder paths to their perfect partners. Some discovered that their twin flame was of a sex they didn't usually date. Others who identified as male or female announced that that was not really the case. They changed their names and pronouns, bought new wardrobes, and came out to their families and colleagues. They were eager to explore the divine genders that Jeff and Shaleia had confirmed through God. So this article's really long, and I think this video is getting incredibly long already. So I'm going to leave it there for now. But I think just based on what we've read from the Vanity Fair article so far, you can see how vulnerable people get sucked into this. How these YouTube videos get suggested to people, you know, based on very almost unrelated aspects to what Jeff and Shaleia might even be teaching about. But it's very easy to get sucked into a cult like this. And I would like to explore this more in another video. You know, my voice is starting to get a bit hoarse and sore. And we can finish reading the article in another video and explore more some of the tactics that Jeff and Shaleia use to hook people in and to keep them coming back and to make them stay inside the cult. Because it's very interesting, and I think this is a discussion worth having. Unfortunately, the whole concept of twin flames is very seductive to a lot of people, and I can understand why. As I say, it hooked me once upon a time. Luckily, I didn't get involved with any of these groups kind of beyond watching a few videos and reading a few articles. but a lot of people do get very, very deeply sucked in, and they change their entire lives and personalities and identities based on the recommendations of gurus like Jeff and Shaleia. And I use the word guru kind of ironically because I think we've seen that Jeff is just really a very kind of immature man-child type of person. And it's fascinating to me how people can be so manipulated and sucked in so deeply that they would actually give over agency of really important things in their life to someone like this. And I'm interested in exploring this more. So I'll do that in another video. For now, I hope that you've enjoyed this discussion. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. And if you've had any experience with this group or with groups that are similar to this, I'd love to hear about it. And I'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.